Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain for You. Today's topic is going to be, there is literally no downside to my approach to TMS. So, I'm going to breathe for a couple of minutes. I'm breathing in the fresh air. It's about 58 degrees. 9:30 in the morning here in Pennsylvania in March. I love it. Spring is here. Listen to the birds. Yep, that's when we know spring is coming. It's right around the corner. Alright, so I'm going to jump right into it. There's literally no downside. You know, I get so many messages from people who are so hesitant to commit to a TMS, a mind-body approach. But what if it's a real problem? What if it's a real problem? Well, first of all, nothing that I suggest says you're going to go bungee jumping tomorrow or you're going to do cartwheels across the lawn. Nothing that I suggest encourages you to do dangerous physical things, right? All I'm suggesting that you do is learn, think, and feel differently about yourself, your body, your pain or your symptoms. Those things are not harmful. There is literally no downside to thinking differently, right? Thinking differently is not dangerous. As a matter of fact, thinking differently is the solution to getting out of your symptoms or pains. So when I say there is literally no downside, I actually mean that. And I do also believe that whether you've got physical symptoms or things like anxiety and depression, my general recommendations will help with all that stuff. Primarily because I guess I'm just encouraging you to take out an easier way of living, a more forgiving, a more loving way, a more trusting way. Trust your body. It's a miracle. Trust your brain. It's doing its best to protect us. It's our best friend. It's not here to torture us. We don't have mental illness. We don't have an emotional problem. And we don't have physical, issues either. We're not broken. So when I say there's no downside, let me just rattle through my suggestions. Number one, rule out the life-threatening or catastrophic. Those would be cancers, tumors, infectious disease, strokes, heart attacks, those types of things. If something feels significant, go see a doctor. Let's not be silly here. Not everything is TMS. So that's the first thing. Rule out the life-threatening. And essentially what we're trying to do by ruling out the life-threatening stuff is to really seek out a medical clearance. And when I say medical clearance, I don't mean so you can go, join a training class for the high-flying trapeze and doing somersaults and flying 40 feet in the air. I mean, seek a medical clearance for a very conservative, thought-based, education-based, emotional-based process. In other words, doctor, you're telling me I've got an SI joint problem. Is there any harm in me trying a thought-based, thinking-based, feeling-based, emotional-based process to end my pain? The doctor's going to be like, well, no. Yeah, I'm not telling you to go join CrossFit. So there's no downside. So first step, rule out the catastrophic and get that medical clearance, because once you know that, all right, I'm not going to harm myself by thinking differently, then you can move forward. So what do? We gain the knowledge. We understand. We learn about TMS, right? Those things are really important, because if you don't understand this mind-body concept of how the brain is creating the pain based on misinterpreting danger signals coming from the body, then it's going to be really hard to turn it off, right? So, step one is knowledge. Step two is do the assessments. yourpaintest.com. Take the test. Anything over 29 is absolutely TMS. If you're slightly under that, don't panic. It just means that it's not quite as certain, but it's still likely. Because I have definitely met some people that after speaking with them, their initial low score was based on perhaps answering the questions from a place of fear and not necessarily thinking it through. And in any event, take the pain test. That'll rule in TMS. So you've ruled out the life-threatening, you rule in TMS. At that point, I really encourage you, case closed, investigation done. The jury's reached a verdict. It's TMS, it's TMS, it's TMS. Move forward accordingly. So it's the rest of the process. Learn to feel your emotions. Why? So we can teach the brain that even emotions are safe. We don't have to run from them. We don't have to avoid them. Feel them. That's an inside job. We don't have to vomit them on everybody around us. But we certainly don't want to lock them up either, because when we lock them up, they tend to accumulate, and that emotional energy builds, and then whammo, we get some type of a symptom. So feel your emotions. It's a good thing to do for mental health, for physical health, for overall well-being. Just be a normal human being. Give yourself permission and allow yourself to feel. I don't have a homework assignment for you. Throughout the day, if you notice yourself emotionally uptight, feel what's going on. Feel. It's not complicated. Don't overthink it. Next step is to soothe your body. Notice when your body's all tense and tight. Notice when you're shallow breathing. And simply put, with that awareness, you can make a decision. I'm going to breathe. I'm going to relax my body, let my shoulders down. I'm going to let the muscle tension out of my body. And so, it's quite simple. Awareness of your emotional state, feel. Awareness of your physical state, relax, breathe. Then become aware of your mental state. What are the thoughts that are going through my mind? Am I going off the deep rails thinking-wise with these fearful, catastrophic, freak-out thoughts? If so, that awareness with the decision to say, I don't have to believe those thoughts, right? We literally don't have to believe our thinking. And so that's a very empowering thing, because when we don't believe our thinking, the thoughts can just drift by. We can gently shift and say, what am I grateful for? Right? But we don't have to believe the negatives. You don't have to stop them. You don't have to fix them. You don't have to change them. You can just simply say, I'm going to leave them be, not pay them much mind, and let them drift by. Sorry, I think back in the neighborhood there's a garbage truck making some noise. Apologize for the noise. So, now that we've got the awareness of our emotional, physical, and mental state, and a decision to feel our emotions, soothe our body, and calm our thinking, which basically says I'm not going to believe those negative thoughts. Why? Because we have the knowledge, we've done the assessments, and it's clearly TMS, so there's nothing to worry about. That moves us on to mindset. And I just had somebody message me today that goes, Dan, indifference is impossible. I'm not going to get there. My mindset's my biggest problem. I'm not going to get well. Look, I say often, well, first of all, to clarify, I have never said ignore your pain. So if you're interpreting indifference to mean ignore your pain, it's not what I mean. It's impossible. You're going to notice it. And if you think you have to ignore it in order to get better, you're going to think it's never going to work. No, indifference is what I recommend. And I also acknowledge over and over and over again that indifference is oftentimes very challenging. Sometimes it's not even available to us. So what do we do instead? At least don't freak out, because that's the opposite of indifference. Indifference is the whole, whatever, so I hurt again, big deal. I've hurt for 4,627 days. I'm hurting today, so what? I've survived every one of those days. I've got a 100% track record of making it through a bad day. I'll make it through today as well. So what? No sense getting upset over it. It is what it is, right? That radical acceptance of what is really important, because when you stop resisting it and you're just like, okay, here we go, and then you make the best of your day anyway. That's kind of what I mean by indifference. It's like, don't care. I'm gonna make the best of the day. Gonna have some fun. Gonna do some things that are important. So if you can't be indifferent, at least don't freak out. Freak out is bad because it fires up the stress response. Adrenaline, cortisol, heart rate goes up, breathing goes up. You think that's going to settle down your symptoms or pains? Not at all. Kind of amplifies it. So freaking out is never the answer. So what's in between? You can't be indifferent and you're not freaking out. In between is that calm reassurance. Simply put, remind yourself of the knowledge that you've got, the assessment you've done, which says, yeah, this is absolutely what's going on with me. And then when you remind yourself of the intellectual knowledge of TMS, also breathe nice and shallow, nice and deep, Let your body relax, and that way you're showing and telling your brain, I'm okay, because look at me. I'm relaxed, I'm not freaking out. I'm reminding myself that I'm okay. I'm breathing, because if I was truly in danger, I wouldn't be able to breathe this calmly and have a relaxed body. I would be tense and oh my God. See, when you're not freaking out and you're actually relaxed, the brain gets the message pretty quick. So when people say, how do I calm down my nervous system? By actually being calm. I know that sounds really stupid and like so obvious, but it can be that simple. If you can act, think, and be calm and breathe and relax your body, your brain's going to go, holy crap, look at them, right? And if you start doing more and more normal things, the brain's going to go, they must be okay. They're doing normal things. So when I say there's literally no downside, there is literally no downside to teaching your brain to trust your body, to feel your emotions, to not take all your catastrophic thinking so damn seriously, to be a little bit more indifferent towards your symptoms. Now, I'm not saying ignore your symptoms. Look, if you have a symptom that seems serious, somebody today just said, oh, I'm having trouble breathing. My answer is, see a doctor. There are certain things that you don't want to mess with. Your elbow hurts. You can kind of take a few days and take the TMS approach and the mindset. You can't breathe? Get to the damn doctor or hospital, right? Trust your gut. Trust your intuition to say, this seems serious. And when I'm talking about that, I mean does this seem life-threatening? If I can't breathe, that probably qualifies as something to get checked out, to be smart. But as it relates to the other stuff, the chronic persistent stuff, if you've been to the doctors and they've checked you out 6 ways to Sunday, and yeah, maybe they've come up with some scary medical labels and diagnoses for you. But at the end of the day, if their treatments are not helping, and you've ruled in TMS, then again, there's no downside to a TMS approach like the one that I am recommending here. So please, go back. Take notes. I have literally just mapped out my entire framework for recovery. You can get better, and I get so many messages from people who are feeling so much better just by watching these videos and just by picking up these tips that I just literally went through in this video. So I'm giving it all away here, folks. I am not holding anything back. And again, there's literally no downside. So take it upon yourself to go through these steps. This is the recipe. This is the roadmap. This is the framework. And these are the principles of recovery. So there's no downside. Go for it. Keep me posted on how you're doing. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Love you.